EU Commission President von der Leyen's State of the Union speech. Brussels, Belgium September 13, 2023 European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen delivered her annual State of the Union speech to the European Parliament in Brussels on Wednesday.
In her speech, von der Leyen outlined the European Union's priorities for the coming year, including strengthening the EU's defense capabilities. Von der Leyen announced that the EU will increase its defense spending by 20% over the next 5 years. She also called for the creation of a European Defense Union, which would coordinate the EU's military forces. Tackling the climate crisis, von der Leyen pledged to make the EU climate neutral by 2050. She also announced a new plan to reduce the EU's reliance on fossil fuels. Promoting social justice, von der Leyen called for a fairer society in the EU, with more opportunities for everyone. She also announced a new plan to tackle poverty and inequality. Von der Leyen also addressed the war in Ukraine, calling for a diplomatic solution to the conflict. She condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine and said that the EU will continue to support Ukraine with humanitarian aid and military assistance.
Thank you very much, Madam President, Ministers, honorable members. In just under 300 days, Europeans will take to the polls in our unique and remarkable democracy. As with any election, it will be the time for people to reflect on the state of our Union and the work done by those that represent them. But it will also be a time to decide on what kind of future and what kind of Europe they want. Among them will be millions of first-time voters. The youngest of them were born in 2008, the economic and financial crisis. As they stand in that polling booth, they will think about what matters to them. They will think about the war that rages at our borders, or the impact of destructive climate change, about how artificial intelligence will influence their lives, or their chances of getting a house or job in the years ahead. Our Union today reflects the vision of those who dreamt of a better future after World War II. A future in which a union of nations, democracies, and people work together to share peace and prosperity. They believed that Europe was the answer to the call of history. And when I speak to the new generation of young people today, I see that same vision for a better future, that same burning desire to build something better, that same belief that in a world of uncertainty, Europe once again must answer the call of history. And that is what we have to do together. This starts with earning the trust of Europeans to deal with their aspirations and anxieties. And in the next 300 days, we must finish the job that they entrusted us with. I want to thank this House for its leading role in delivering on the most ambitious transformations this Union has ever embarked on. When I stood in front of you in 2019 with my program for a green, a digital, and geopolitical Europe, I know that some had doubts. And that was before the world turned upside down with a global pandemic and a brutal war on European soil. But look at where Europe is today. We've seen the birth of a geopolitical union, supporting Ukraine, standing up to Russia's aggression, responding to an assertive China, investing in partnerships. We now have a European Green Deal as a centerpiece of our economy and unmatched in ambition. We have set the path for digital transition to become global pioneers in online rights. We have the historic Next Generation EU, combining 800 billion euros of investment and reform and creating decent jobs for today and tomorrow. We have set the building blocks for a health union, helping to vaccinate an entire continent and large parts of the world. We've started making ourselves more independent in critical sectors like energy, chips, and raw materials. I would also like to thank you for the groundbreaking and pioneering work we did on gender equity. As a woman, this means a lot to me. We've concluded files that many thought would be blocked forever, like the Women on Boards Directive and the historic accession of the EU to the Istanbul Convention. With the Directive on Pay Transparency, we have cast into law the basic principle that equal work deserves equal pay. There is not a single argument why, for the same type of work, a woman should be paid less than a man. But our work is far from over, and we must continue pushing for progress together. I know this House supports our proposal on combating violence against women. And here too, I would like that we cast into law another basic principle. No means no. There can be no true equality without freedom from violence. And thanks to this Parliament, to Member States and to my team of commissioners, we have delivered over 90% of the political guidelines I presented in 2019. Together, we have shown that when Europe is bold and united, it gets things done. And our work is far from over, so let's stand together, let's deliver today, and prepare for tomorrow.